Gets taken off the board. Assassin not going to pick up the Birdman in the mid lane. That being said, out of his past 3 games, hasn't seen that one.
Yeah, and Assassin kind of plays his namesake and then the Orianna Azir. So getting rid of the Azir is just hitting a little part of his champion pool, but you still have to be wary of the Kassadin and a couple of other picks that he brings out.
Yeah, that's correct. As King taking a lot of time considering their final ban here, wondering whether or not to take off the last remaining strong jungler or whether they want to potentially keep that for themselves. But Jarvan 4 going to be removed.
Yeah, so taking that away, as you mentioned, from Amazing J, he does tend to play it, but it was probably the last strong jungle up. So obviously looking to even the playing field here. And we've mentioned that after the top 3 jungles, and maybe Rengar throw him in there as well at the moment, it kind of does widen out. We've seen maybe Kha'Zix and Elise, the next 2 most popular, come through.
Yeah, well, there's sort of a whole slew of junglers that you can pick up after that. I mean, Rengar sort of obviously in that sort of mid-echelon, but then it's sort of the field opens up. And as you mentioned, Elise, I mean, there's possible Rivens and Olafs that Spirit's shown us to mixed effect, but Rengar is going to be the decision here for MLXG, and it's going to lock that one away. So we'll just see what Drizzles decides to pick up with the sort of remaining options that he has. Janna, though, an obvious pick here for Shu.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go with maybe even a Sivir. Get that bot lane with all the movement speed. We've seen Sivir be extremely popular at the moment. And Rengar, of course, can get in there and get the hard engage going. But with the spell shield, Sivir is quite safe still into that pick.
And this mid lane is being entirely left open as well. So the likes of your Fizz, your LeBlanc, your Zed, all of these sort of strong assassins in that mid lane could be potentially coming through, but as you mentioned, Kayn and Shu going to be locking down that bottom lane.
Yeah, and I think that's a great ambiguous pickup. They do well in lane swaps because of how well Sivir pushes with that Janna shield especially.
Is it going to happen?
No, it's not.
Damn. I got excited about the hover. You have no idea.
And then, as I said, in team fights, they do move around the map. The only problem Sivir has at the moment is if you have extremely hard engage, doesn't siege turrets particularly well. Pushes down lanes very well, but doesn't siege fantastic. We have seen, actually, Cassiopeia getting a little bit more popularity and much more play, as we see potentially the Maokai being hovered here as well.
Yeah, Maokai a little bit more of a standard pickup here, but I'd be excited to see Sky on something that could really carry for his team. Of course, Sky been hyped a fair bit for his team, but going to be locking in that super tank there in the top lane, going to act more as that frontline disruption.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. He played Maokai last game. I think he's played a couple of Aurelia games as well. He just wants to be the rock in top lane. It looks like he's the one that can't afford to fall behind and needs to get these fights going. So not surprising to see him go back to something that is extremely solid and can impact the map with a teleport.
Yeah, really can impact with that teleport, and also can start these engages off, especially if he gets that Righteous Glory pickup, which we've been seeing so much more often here coming through onto Maokai instead of that Rod of Ages. But Raphael and Kayn hovering over a couple of picks, and Amazing J may potentially pick up that Sion again.
Yeah, talking about really tanky guys that bring CC to a lineup, Sion, once he gets those couple of items, just becomes immovable. Going for Pantheon to maybe provide a little bit more hard engage. That Pantheon ult into Sion will be quite fun to watch, but you would imagine that in the top lane now, it's not going to be much happening on the top side of the map.
No, it's just going to be people whacking each other just a little bit. The Lumberjack trying to take down the tree. We'll just see how he goes and whether he picks the correct skin. But as we try and round out this lineup for King, they're looking at putting Wushin on this Corki. Has seen a lot of popularity, a lot of mixed success as well. Worked out fantastically for IG, but not necessarily following the same trend as it moved along. Of course, Candy having a fantastic game as Tristana against Corki yesterday, but it is going to be the Fizz lock in here for Assassin, and if his name's Assassin, you may as well pick up one of the most potent Assassins that you can put in there, and we'll see what Raphael decides to answer with.
Yeah, well, I really like the lineup coming out of King, as we see Lulu actually going into the mid lane to, I guess, counter that Assassin out, but their peak potential on the side of King, after a 1 item power spike, that Trinity Force will come out as well as potentially a Lich Bane.
Yeah.
It's just so high on their carries. Not to mention Rengar's ultimate can just be used to such great effect if you have a Thresh.
Yeah.
Because you can just light up the map and be able to really pick people off. I like the pick comp coming out of King. But Lulu really does change how the game is played with Assassins on the map. Can just really mitigate the upfront burst that comes out of the Fizz and leave him in the middle of the team fight. We'll have to maybe get a Zhonya's quite early as well.
Yeah, and we'll see how that synergy works with that Wild Growth, potentially the Grand Skyfall, and of course the ultimate coming through from Sion as well. See how that Wild Growth is going to be used to really disrupt these team fights, because, I mean, they've got to contend with the CC lockdown and frontline potential of that Maokai with all of the CC that he brings. and we'll just see whether Lulu is going to be enough. But, of course, going to be relatively safe in that mid lane.
Yeah, it will be very safe, but the other thing you have to wonder is there enough damage on the Energy Pacemaker lineup? If you take a Lulu and a Sivir, who's quite short range, into a Maokai Rengar, who are just going to build pure tank, you would imagine, throughout this game, Frozen Heart can really shut this lineup down, and it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting from Sivir to be able to get this going, a lot of pressure on Kane. Shu, sorry. And
the other thing as well is that sort of early on in this matchup, you're going to have Pantheon being relatively squishy and maybe a little bit of bait for this Fizz.
Yeah, and I think that, while Pantheon is relatively squishy, he will try and avoid the Assassin, I guess, in the early game. And as we said, that Lulu will mitigate a lot of that.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes as we do hop into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are onto the Rift with King taking on Energy Pacemaker. King, for our first game, going to be picking up the blue shorts. And over on the other side, going to be Energy Pacemaker wearing the red.
And an early move coming in from King. Stacked as 4, trying to invade into Drizzle's Pantheon. Get some early vision down. Maybe even scout out a lane swap. They don't want any more funny business coming out of this Ion.
They certainly don't, as we actually have Wushin finding his friend Shu there in the bottom side of the map. They're just trading autos. Of course, Janna, a bit of a monster in the auto attack department, playing very aggressively. Raphael going to try and get a Glitter Lance, not going to find it.
Picking up a lot of early gold.
Yeah, exactly. Really, that Spell Thief's Edge almost paying for itself.
Yeah, we'll be able to go back and maybe even pick up an extra potion, which could be pretty important in the laning phase, particularly with the harass that can come out of that Phosphorus Bomb from Corki. So nice early deep vision coming in on the bottom side of the map. In response, King has got the top side of the map completely lit up for lane swaps.
Yeah, and it looks to see like they are really trying to get the lane set up that they want. Of course, their bottom lane hanging out around this bottom side.
Yeah, and it looks like Sky wants to start up the Raptor camp on the enemy jungle.
This amazing Jay did go for the Lumberjack skin. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is important.
So it looks like Sky will be able to pick himself up at level 2. Will use a lot of mana, but takes reasonably low damage. Will be able to teleport back and then come into lane. Level 2 reasonably, like, instantaneously, not reasonably early. Just picks up the little ones, actually, so not willing to tank it out. And then we'll just go top lane. So he'll have the experience lead, but won't be level 2 yet.
Yeah, and that's a fair bit of gold as well. 27 gold just for 3 free popcorn chickens. Not going too badly as Assassin trading a bit of damage with Raphael here in the early game, but you can imagine that it's going to be level 3 before he's going to be doing too much there.
Yeah, you get a very small window if you can push the lane out at level 2 to use that playful stricture as well as that W to be able to jump in there and do a lot of damage. But you're right, level 3 is definitely where Fizz does excel at the start of the game.
Flay just going wide here onto Shu. Takes a fair bit of incidental damage from some autos, but bottom lane sort of shaping up pretty casually, and amazing Jay wanting to see whether he can chop down this tree.
Yeah, and we'll be maxing that E first for all the harass and the wave clear that comes from it. His Q at rank 1 is one of the best abilities to just leave there because it does so much damage and, of course, provides all the utility you want from just a rank 1 spell with that knock-up coming through once he does charge it up.
Let's see whether he can use it to great effect. Hop back into the middle lane and things still just panning out absolutely fine. Jungle is going to be MLXG actually heading back and picking up his Stalker's Blade. Heading back towards his jungle. Actually hasn't done his red camp just yet. And red going to be started here from Drizzle as well. So not too much early pressure from both Pantheon and Rengar, both sort of wanting to level up in this game and use their sort of impactful ultimates to really get these ganks going.
Yeah, Drizzle hasn't been back to buy yet. We'll be able to pick up his red buff here and maybe even go mid for the first gank of the game. We can see MLXG is a little bit wary of the Pantheon potentially. So is getting a ward down before he starts that one up. Actually has a relatively good gank in the bottom lane. If you lantern him into a brush with Thresh, gets that automatic gap closer.
Yeah.
Can work out very well. But with Janna, the Queen of Disengage, is going to be extremely difficult to get onto Kayn Sivir with that spell shield.
Yeah, with the spell shield and, of course, that Howling Gale. Just makes that lane very difficult to gank. But when you've got a Thresh, I mean, there's always opportunities. As Drizzle coming in for a potential invade. Not going to find anyone, but going to be able to get some deep vision on that Wolf Camp.
Yeah, they're just trying to get vision on exactly where MLXG is. Try and scout out what part of the jungle he is at, how close to that level 6 mark he is. As we said, that is when Rengar does become impactful. And we're seeing relatively even lanes. Maybe the surprise is Corki having a little bit of a CS advantage. We've spoken a lot about how Sivert does doesn't have a hard time against Corki whatsoever, and it's very surprising to still see after maybe 2 or 3 weeks of Sivert, people taking the likes of Corki into the lane instead of maybe something like a Caitlyn to really try and bully her around early. Ooh,
yeah, actually, playful tricks have been used here as well. Drizzle chose his time quite nicely, but the counter gank is possible here from MLXG. And they're going to back away from that one. No vision available on that side of the map, so Energy Pacemaker wisely backing out.
Yeah, good use of that Urchin Strike to put some more distance in between them, being able to dash through that minion. So good play there, going to the side of the jungle where... side of the river where his jungle was, and now we finally see Kane starting to push this lane out and try and get an advantage.
Oh, MLXG actually forced to use that flash away from Drizzle, has gone down very low, and that ward on the Wolf Camp just paying off here for Drizzle.
Yeah, and that's a very healthy Pantheon going in against a very low health Rengar, of course, not electing to go for the AoE smite early on, so we'll be struggling in the jungle. As we see him, Amazing J just putting out some harass. This is going to be a very, very boring top lane.
Nothing too much going to go on as that shield does pop from Sion. But I can't wait for that ultimate to come through. I mean, and can become very impactful.
Wushin's been able to pick up a 16 CS advantage in this bottom lane already. We'll go back and pick up a Phage for himself. That's a very good early advantage for Corki to have in a lane where Sivir should be able to just repetitively shove and try and deny CS under a turret.
Yeah, and is it surprising to you that Wushin's so far ahead in CS in this lane as well?
Yeah, it certainly is, especially because Pantheon is just such a better early game jungler than Rengar. Able to put a lot more pressure on the map with that point-and-click stun coming through.
Yeah.
So that's a very good turnout for Lam and Wushin in that bottom lane.
And speaking of junglers, Drizzle going to be hanging out on this ward, but Shu's there as well. So Lam possibly able to collapse onto something here. We have 4 members strong of King down in this bottom side, but Energy Pacemaker again. Spidey senses tingling, they're going to back away.
Yeah, so a very slow start to this game. Really haven't seen much out of either jungle apart from Drizzle, I guess, invading MLXG and burning that early flash. And neither really close to that level 6 where they'll be able to use that ultimate to great effect to maybe get the first gank off.
Yeah, and Amazing J having an easy time in this top lane as well, ahead by more than 10 CS up there. So the Sion working out, just cutting down minions pretty easily and can clear a wave relatively effectively as well.
You certainly can, and it's just so hard to push Sion out of the lane with that shield coming through and all of the AoE damage he does to creeps. He just can sit up there and farm until he becomes that very tanky monster. And this is going to be difficult for Wushin, I guess, to deal with him in the early mid-ish game, around the first and second dragon mark.
Yeah, you see going straight towards a potential either Banshee's Veil or that Spirit Visage there in the top lane. And what do you think the more optimal choice for Amazing J will be?
Yeah, I think Banshee's Veil is just a better item at the moment. It can block one of Fizz's big moves, which will keep him relatively healthy in a fight. It means he can also tank up the fish for his team, which will just be extremely important. And the Emma pickup first item is just optimal in this. Corki, of course, does a lot of mixed damage against Maokai as well as a Fizz. Maybe even go for the second magic resistance item before he even has to put anything into that armor. And by that time, Frozen Heart or Thornmail will just do the trick really nicely.
Yeah, we'll see what his decision is. As we were having a look at that mid lane, things going fantastically for Raphael here. Looks incredibly at home on this Lulu pickup, especially in this matchup. Has himself a 15 CS advantage, has picked up that blue buff. Slight item lead here as well against Assassin's Fizz.
There's just not much Fizz can do against a Lulu early game because of the polymorph that can come through as well as the long-range harass. And Lulu, of course, just clears waves effortlessly with that Glitter Lance. So you're expecting the lane to go in her favor, but 20 CS is quite a margin at this point in the game.
It very much is. Fizz going to have a bit of a wave there at the turret, so they're going to be able to potentially catch up. But we can see Pink Ward's lining defensively for Energy Pacemaker. They want to know exactly where MLXG is and where his next effort is going to be. But so far, both of these junglers not really managing to get anything off. The gold incredibly even at this stage, and as the junglers hit level 6, that's when we'll see some action, you could imagine, unless Raphael manages to poke Assassin completely out of lane.
Yeah, maybe that's what they look for the first dragon off the back of. just being able to force Fizz back. He's still building that CS lead. It's nearly back up to the 20 CS mark again. And just try and get something from there. As Assassin is just taking repetitive punishment under this turret.
Yeah, ooh, Glitterland's almost going to land onto him as well after Hellpix gets put down onto the creep. And Sky just trying to get up to his big tanky Maokai mark. Struggling a little bit here against Amazing J's pressure performance on this Scion.
Yeah, so overall, it looks like Wushin maybe the last shining light in this laning phase, at least, with Assassin, as well as Sky maybe struggling, falling a little bit behind in CS.
Ooh, potential Lantern Gang to come through here from MLXG.
Does have the ultimate available as well, so it could be counter-ganked by Drizzle, who is setting up in the river to maybe do exactly that. And in the end, MLXG just backing off, not wanting to risk the counter-gank that can come through from Drizzle.
Yeah, and some Dragon warding to come through here is about the 10-minute mark. 12 minutes has generally been about where that Dragon has been started. Is Shu just going to get knocked into the wall for a moment?
Yeah, and Dragon does so much early game damage. You look how much punishment Janet takes for that.
Oh, wow. Actually using that as a leash.
So a very early Dragon coming out for a 2-man just because of how much damage Dragon does. They will bring Kayn across, and this is a risky move here.
As you can see as well, though, Assassin was poked out of that lane. That being said, 3 members going to be available here, and they take the Dragon. Nice smite from Shu. Drizzle missing that one, but Death Sentence not going to be able to pick that up, and Assassin makes his way to lane, but feels a little bit silly for getting pushed out by this Lulu.
Yeah, and the CS advantages continue to grow, and the damage is starting to go down on the mid turret as well. You would think that would be all important for a team with a Sivir that wants to really move around the map as fast as possible. Really nice play coming out of the sub, Raphael. You see why he brought him here. He's putting a lot of pressure down on Assassin.
He really is, and this Lulu pick just looking really, really good for him. This might be the way that Energy Pacemaker managed to find their way in. Nice spell shield from Kayn.
Yeah, but you think if Energy Pacemaker are going to make things happen, they need to really roll this mid-game together quite soon, probably before the 22-minute mark, just because of the damage that can come out of King's lineup compared to the reasonably low, I guess, consistent damage that comes out of Energy Pacemaker. So now that they've got a lead, they've worked themselves a little bit into the advantage. They need to start trying to push down these turrets and force the issue a little bit more.
And what do you think about Drizzle's Trailblazer pickup here in comparison to that Stalker's Blade? Do you think that Pantheon just has enough CC without the Stalker's Blade?
Yeah, it's more because Pantheon it ends up on top of you from his ultimate anyway, isn't really looking to chase someone down. So just looking to get the most beneficial clear out and keep himself as healthy as possible.
Assassin, he's only using that Playful Trickster defensively.
Yeah, and he's continually being bullied in this lane. Wushin's still the shining light for his team. You feel that MLXG needs to get into the bottom lane and try and affect a gank just to keep his 1 lane ahead. Because otherwise, Amazing J, as well as Raphael.
Raphael getting taken down solo. He's going to get ganked for first blood. Drizzle does grant Skyfall in. MLXG going down solo, forced to use that flash, but Assassin, he fancies some more.
Ooh, coming in from the flank, actually. Kayn is you.
Oh, on the hunt has been popped here as well. Assassin very low on mana, forced to use that flash. Drizzle's going to come through here as well. The box goes down. Lamb might actually get a kill here. The heal forced to be used out of Kayn, and the flash from Shu going to save his life. But nice first play from King, and despite what we're saying about Raphael, goes down for first blood.
Yeah, what a hook that came out of Lamb at the end. Burnt 2 summoner spells as well as another ultimate. That's great heads-up play coming out of the Thresh. And all of a sudden, all the map pressure that was building for Energy Pacemaker completely relieved. Wushin goes back bottom lane, able to pick up a free minion wave for himself, and
a whole lot more experience here as well for this Corkery. I mean, he had that free lane for about 2 waves because he didn't have to roam up there, and the fact that King were the only ones that managed to pick up a kill, as there's the execute coming through, actually. First kill on the board for Energy Pacemaker. The Gromp was a member of their team. Unfortunately not, so not going to get counted, but he's still going to be okay. He doesn't lose his buffs if he dies to those jungle monsters.
Just an extremely tanky Gromp.
That is just nerf Gromp, please.
Ooh, as we see, Assassin going maybe a little bit aggressive. Raphael still holding a massive CS lead.
Oh, nice. Kayn going to get caught by the hook there from the brush. Not going to be able to spell shield too much here as he manages to pop it a little bit late, but Wushin's taking a lot of damage. The turnaround might be here. King does pick up the kill, but look at how much Wushin's taking. And Layam being the hero, tanking up those creeps.
Yeah, great frontlining coming out from Layam to once again secure the kill. Wuxian is playing this bottom lane really well. He's now 30 CS up in the advantage, picked himself up a kill, will have that Trinity Force whenever he so pleases to go back, and that's really the danger zone coming out for Energy Pacemaker. Who is going to shut down this Corki?
Exactly, and Assassin now almost has that Lich Bane built up, and you have to think that Fizz always going to have damage potential. May not have necessarily had a great time in lane, but with that gank, with that extra assist gold, and the fact that Raphael now forced to play a little bit more respectfully here, just due to the fact that that Thrill of the Hunt was so effective. Amazing J clearing out some minions here in the top lane, smacking them around.
And Energy Pacemaker's composition is just so hard to pull off now because they're against an AD carry who's really rolling on Corki, as well as an Assassin, and they're really putting a lot of onus on Kayn staying alive to do persistent damage.
Yeah.
So they need Raphael as well as you to get rid of this Fizz, because if he jumps onto the AD carry and is able to pick up a kill, that will just mean, as we have a gank.
Oh, Raphael, there's a Chum the Waters coming through as well, but Shu here just in time, and Death Sentence goes slightly wide here from Liam, and almost close to a little bit of deja vu here in the mid lane.
Yeah, so once again, Assassin looking to get busy and get in the lane and really affect, I guess, Raphael, who is playing extremely aggressively still, even after he did die. But as I said, a lot of pressure now on Kayn to, now that he's behind 30 CS and a kill, he needs to be that carry for his team.
And we just witnessed the most satisfying looking Phosphorus Bomb to come through from Wuxian as well, picking up all of those creeps. It's wonderful to see. Assassin can use all of his abilities, head back to base, as well as Raphael here as well. So I want to pick up some more items, and I think that that might even spell the Lich Bane here, and it does for Assassin. So hit some nice item spikes with both of those sort of Sheen items being completed at relatively the same time.
Yeah, they certainly have. Amazing J, however, is just continuing to get tanky on this Scion. He's picked himself up a Giant Spell. He's going to be absolutely massive for the next Dragon fight that is only 30 seconds away. And King looking good. They've got their line of ward up. Need to extend it maybe a little bit further into Energy Pacemaker's jungle, but otherwise looking like they might have control of this one.
Yeah, and I really love Amazing J's sort of flat health and the Banshee's Vow pickup here, because he's virtually against a triple AD comp, or at least a 2.5 due to the mixed damage coming through from Wuxian on this Corki. So he's going to be really difficult to kill.
And that ultimate just gives him all the movement speed he really needs to get into the start of the fight, so not electing to go any boots at this point. As long as he can get past that Maokai, we'll be fine.
Oh, Descent's actually going to land at a drizzle here. Flay's not going to get him over the wall. But I think King's setting up for their dragon. It has respawned. Energy Pacemaker picked up the first one, and now just trying to get the vision down. Assassin not poked out yet. This is very important. They are going to have the Fizz for a potential fight. Both top laners. Oh, only Sky actually with that teleport. Amazing J's almost back up again. Yeah,
we'll be back up by the time you would assume the dragon will be started. Has actually pushed out the lane, elected to go back as the ultimate's popped by MLXG.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. It's a beautiful Howling Gale to stop the engage from coming through, but this might spell the start of this dragon fight for MLXG, as Thrill of the Hunt is going to drop down on the Hunts here as well. And there's the teleport coming through from Sky. He really wants to get in here. Amazing J has just wandered his way towards the lane. The flash play. There's the box there as well. Sky's in with the twisted advance. Kayn going down so fast. Assassin's going to pick up that kill despite the ultimate coming through from Raphael. Drizzle now. He's going to get eliminated. So squishy at this stage. The double kill coming through from Assassin. Liam is going to fall down eventually, and Wuxian now going to be the focus. Sky's tanking so much damage. The flash out from Raphael, but the follow-up flash from Assassin here as well. The third kill for him. Sky using that passive, but is going to fall down. And Amazing J, he's getting put into his passive form, and Shu is the only one alive. A beautiful fight for King.
Yeah, and straight away, as soon as Kayn was taken off the map, you just saw there was not enough damage to get onto the carries from King. Wuxian and Assassin, the two members that survived, and what better two members to really clean up the end of that fight. 3-0-2 now on Fizz, 2-0-3 on Corki. King are in exactly the position they wanted to be.
Yeah, and they're going to try and two-man this dragon as well. Does do a fair bit of damage, but as long as Assassin doesn't take too much from the AoE, they should be able to secure this one. So their first dragon and a fantastic team fight as we have a look at it again.
Yeah, so look how split Energy Pacemaker is at the moment. Shu's over the wall and Pantheon's behind. They jump in and just are able to blow up Kayn through all of the mitigation that came through him from here. Even though Drizzle is able to pick up MLXG, it's just not enough damage coming through. The Scion just trying to get down as many people as he possibly can, but they jump onto Raphael, able to blow him up over the wall. Wuxian follows him over there. And as we mentioned, at this point, once Kane's gone down so early, just overall, the carries from King are in a much better position to clean up.
Yeah, and it was just wonderful sacrificial play coming through from Sky as well. Twisting, advancing his way back in when he was definitely going to die, just to make sure that they locked down the rest of those kills, especially for Assassin. And he's gone back and picked up a needlessly large rod after that engagement, so looking so much better on this Fizz. Only 10 CS behind.
Yeah, and Wushin able to go pick up another BF sword for himself, so it's a Trinity Force BF versus just the Infinity Edge, and that is a very, very powerful Corki.
That Corki is huge at this stage of the game. Does have that longsword there as well, and we'll see whether he goes for the Infinity Edge that we were seeing a lot of yesterday, or whether he decides to lock down that Bloodthirster just for a little bit of extra defensive ability as well as the staying power that it offers.
Yeah, and this is the first time I would actually agree with the Blade of the Ruin King build coming out, just because of how passively tanky Scion gets, and a lot of that is through health. So we'll still have a little bit of trouble, I think, taking out the tanky Scion. But on the squishy targets like Kane, he's going to do so much versus damage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at that damage coming through onto Kane. They have to definitely leave this turret, even though the minion wave does run out here for King. And they're getting their vision control up here as well. The top side of the map still warded out very effectively for Energy Pacemaker, but that's not where King are focused. They're all about making sure they have vision around the potential dragons coming through and making sure that they can secure this bottom lane. And I think that that's going to be the tower to first fall on this map.
Yeah, and I think it's because they're expecting a lot more focus to go down on Amazing J in this top lane. Instead, they've just completely ignored him. Yeah, he's got a 30 CS lead, and he's very tanky at this point, but late game, just not going to be enough damage on Energy Pacemaker's lineup to really trouble them. I think King are just happy to play this one out now that they've got their early advantage, because they've really got all the power in this mid at late game.
Yeah, that being said, I mean, Sky had only just finished off that Rod of Ages, wasn't necessarily at the tanky point that he's going to be in the next few minutes when that's fully stacked. Now has that Glacial Shroud and, of course, the Ninja Tabi as well. So going to be able to mitigate a fair bit of this physical damage that could come through as On the Hunt comes down. There's the Grand Skyfall as well. And Amazing J comes through with the ult, does get dodged out of the way of. And the Boomerang Blade comes through. Nice death sentence to stop the onslaught for Amazing J. Wushin forced to use that Valkyrie. He's going extremely fast, though, on this slippery Corki.
That poke coming out of Corki is phenomenal at this point. They're still following up with the chase.
Oh, that Chum the Waters was so close as the Boomerang Blade goes wide. And Amazing J, he may have been caught. He's tanky, but possibly not tanky enough. Massively far forward here as Energy Pacemaker look to potentially turn this one around, but don't find their way into the fight at this stage. And King, they look like they're going for the outer turret in mid.
Yeah, they certainly are able to force Energy Pacemaker back. Amazing J at half health will be able to pick up this mid lane turret you expect, although Scion is an absolute beast. Just walks back into the lane, clears out all the minions.
Yeah, and he has so much health back here as well. You have to think that has a fair bit of regen on his side. Sunfire Cape actually being completed here from Amazing J, so wants to get his power now.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the mid-game swing that has come out of King, just altering his build a little bit, making sure that he has some of that magic damage to go along, because he's going to be sitting in the middle of the team for quite a while, let's face it.
Oh, yeah. And you saw how long it took King to do any respectable damage to him. I mean, he's still a super tank for the front line of Energy Pacemaker. And Assassin now going to be split pushing here in the top lane, so the next outer turret being looked at here from King.
Yeah, the response is to send Amazing J up there, who does have a teleport, so watch for that one. If they are able to get another fight started, maybe on the back of the Pantheon ult, we'll be able to, I guess, have the numbers in their favor, although Wushin just doing so much damage to these structures, able to take down the mid turret. We'll be able to go back and pick up his Bloodthirster as well, so nice 2-item spike coming through.
Yeah, we'll see what he does decide to go for. Of course, those Sorcerer's Boots, another possible pickup to really help that mid-game spike of damage. We'll see what he decides to go with here on this Corki, who has sort of like a nice shopping trip to look forward to.
Yeah, has actually elected to stay mid, try and stop this push coming through, but Energy Pacemaker sending 4 members mid, able to pick up an outer turret for themselves, so it's 2 turrets to 2 turrets, and only a 600 gold advantage in favor of King.
Yeah, both teams having about the same map advantage. You can see defensive wards on both sides, apart from a few forward ones from King, so still feeling good, but the top lane outer turret going to go to Amazing J. That guy is immovable. Yeah,
and it's really Amazing J who's built himself a massive CS advantage, 20 was about 30 now that he's gone back to shop. He's picked himself up another Giant Spell versus Wuxin, who's 2-0-3 and once again 40 CS up on his direct lane opponent. It's really who can get more work done. Can Sion absorb enough damage to let Kane get the free auto attacks down that he needs, or will this Corki just absolutely rip apart the squishier members of Energy Pacemaker?
And the Bloodthirst have been finished up here by Wuxin. I very much like that pickup, but Kane has managed to secure his first 2 big items in that Static Shiv and Infinity Edge, so he's going to do some respectable burst with that second attack speed item, but also
and not
just have a lot of AoE damage.
Not much armor has been picked up on King's lineup, as we have the Dragon started up again on cooldown for King. We'll be able to pick this one up for free. Energy Pacemaker just not in a position to fight.
Yeah, they might be able to get the fight after the fact, but they are going to be able to secure that one as Amazing J on the hunt's being popped. There's the ultimate as well, gets the knock up onto Sky, but he's really tanky on this Maokai. That Vengeful Maelstrom doing a lot of work, and there's the Static Shiv procs coming through. A nice triple knock up to come through from Sky, and Shu getting taken down so low. Amazing J trying to peel, but you can see Sky doing so much work, zoning Kane out of this one. Gonna flash out after him, does pick up the kill on that super tank, but he is so low, and Wuxin now just with so much damage here on the backside. Wuxin actually going to flash after Kane here, asserting his dominance on his opposite number, as Amazing J just trying to get stopped by the members of King. And he's so tanky, but he also just doesn't do a lot of damage here at the same time. As you can see, he's just getting kited around on this Sion. His Death Defy might be what he needs. Layham is going to be able to create some distance, but this speed boost from the passive, is it going to be enough? The flayback, and now Amazing J is just really sad about everything that's going on.
And once again, as soon as Kane is off the map, there is just no follow-up damage. You can be as tanky as you want as Sion, but if you're not able to kill the members of the other team, they're just going to win every subsequent team fight. Once again, Wuxin and Assassin just going absolutely massive. Assassin actually prioritizing Raphael that fight to zone him completely away, and just able to pick up the Dragon and another team fight win.
Yeah, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that Amazing J's ultimate only hit Sky. And Sky died in that fight, but that was after tanking so much damage. You can see 0, 2, and 8. Still keeping up with CS quite fine. Now has that Frozen Heart available, and you have to think that this Maokai is just going to get a movable towards the late game.
Yeah, and I think the problem as well is that Amazing J and Drizzle's ultimate weren't able to get onto the carries. And if they can't get onto the back line, they just have much more damage output on King's lineup to be able to shred the tanks quicker. We mentioned how long Sky survived, and he's gone back and got a hell of a lot tankier already.
Yeah.
Next time a fight like that does occur, it's going to be even worse for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, and we thought Assassin was sneaky on this Fizz before. Almost has that Zonya's Hourglass as well, so going to be really frustrating on this Fizz.
Has a cooldown reduction that comes through as well, so he's in a fantastic spot at this point in the game. We'll pick up his level 16 quite soon, about a quarter of the way through that level, and with that level 3 Chum the Water coming through.
Ooh, looking to affect a gank here on this Fizz. Chum the Water's actually going to land onto Drizzle. He gets pushed back into it. The damage does go down. There's the Wild Growth, but everyone just piling in on top of that Pantheon. And Drizzle's just eliminated.
Yeah, and now that the jungle's down, they can even maybe focus on this Baron. They do a lot of damage with the BT Trinity Force, although Wuxin looking to get aggressive onto Shu here in the top lane.
Yeah, this Corki is one of the most aggressive that we've seen so far, and that's saying a lot considering the fact that we're talking about China. Ooh, the stun not going to come through from Amazing J because, of course, they had that little brush warded. Very tall.
Nice.
Kane gets caught by the death sentence. The box going down as well. He hasn't taken a lot of damage just yet, but now he's been blown up. Wuxin takes that kill, and Amazing J now trying to be in the front line, but as we mentioned, doesn't do quite enough damage.
Ignoring
Raphael just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Amazing J now going to have to go back under his turret. And there's the Grand Skyfall. Drizzle has come back into this one. Wuxin going to take a lot of damage from that one. But look, Chum the Water's up again just at the right time. And that's going to get rid of the Pantheon. The Death Defy going to get destroyed as well. And Shu, the last man standing. And this looks like King's game through and through thus far.
They're just completely ignoring Amazing J. Once his CC goes down, they do not look at him whatsoever until the carries are deleted off the map. 8-0-6 now on Corki, 40 CS advantage. Wuxin is coming up absolutely massive for King. And they're in a very good position to pick up their first win.
Yeah, and this is triple item Corki now as well. Just finished that last Whisper. Has, of course, the spell penetration coming through from those Sorcerer's Shoes as well. So his mixed damage is just going to be ripping through this team. There's no way to itemize against a fed Corki. There just really isn't.
And the problem is, whilst Amazing J's tanky, the rest of the lineups just get absolutely exploded at this point. A really fed Corki and a pretty fed Fizz as well when you look at it. 6-0 and 5 for Assassin are just going to absolutely decimate the squishier members. Jarvan not really having the impact early game he would have liked, and now we see that Rengar's ultimate is just becoming so much more potent, as shown at the start of that last fight.
Yeah, and Assassin now has picked up those Boots of Lucidity, finished off his Zhonya's Hourglass now as well, so going to have 40% cooldown reduction with Masteries included, without a blue buff. So just going to be playfully trickstering around these fights as much as he'd like. And it's just going to be really hard to lock him down now with that Zhonya's Hourglass as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned that he's gone for those Lucidity boots. He has no MR shred at the moment. As soon as he gets that Void Staff, he just becomes scarier than he already is, and that's not a good thing if you're Energy Pacemaker. This is a Fizz that at 4 items is only going to get stronger as the game goes on, and there's not even a last Whisper picked up for Kayn at the moment, so he's having enough problem with Maokai and that Frozen Heart, let alone a really fed Fizz.
Yeah, he's having enough problems killing enough minions on this map to buy some items, really. So Kayn not having the game that he wants to, as Wishing just going to get sped up here and going to be the front line for his team, as we've been seeing him doing. And the thing I'd like to mention as well is that Raphael just hasn't managed to impact this mid to late game at all on this Lulu. He's sort of done nothing.
Yeah, and that's a problem with the Lulu pickup. More of the supportive mid laner does have that big impactful team fight ultimate, but at the end of the day, they just don't have enough damage to get these team fights in their favor. And look at the vision control that King has translated that into. Once you get a gold lead, they've started strangling them out of their own jungle. They cannot even approach this dragon without being seen. And that'll be, I think, the third in favor of King.
Yeah.
Really exerting dominance, both in team fights and across the map.
So securing that one incredibly easily. The map belonging to King at this stage. You'd think that Baron is going to be the next possibility, because they have a lot of damage, as you mentioned. But
as soon as you get that Bloodthirster on Corki, you really can just walk up and hit the turret a couple of times with that Trinity Force Bloodthirster shield and siege down these structures really easily. They will be able to pick up a blue buff as well and take that away from Energy Pacemaker. And at this point, there's just nothing Energy Pacemaker can do. Yeah, they've got some good hard engage, but they can just ignore Amazing J.
Yeah, that's going to be the death sentence. Landing on Amazing J, gets knocked out of his stun as well. Unable to really slow anyone down with that one. And he does manage to get the ult in. Liam does get knocked up by that one, but he's taking a lot of damage for it. Sky comes in now. There's the ultimate pop. Nice 3 knock up there in the backline. Energy Pacemaker doing a fair bit of work as Shu comes through with a beautiful monsoon to get everyone out of this one. LXJ is going to come out, but Assassin picks up Kayn. That's almost all of the damage gone now, and Drizzle taking a lot of damage. Amazing J, the Drum the Waters. It's the Assassin show now as he gets knocked up by Amazing J. Sort of annoyed by this Scion, but nothing much else as Drizzle's getting taken down so low, and the dive to come through. Look at Sky, he's so tanky. Playful Trickster secures his last kill. Is that the pentakill for Assassin? What a beast!
Yeah, coming through and cleaning up the team fight. They used everything to take Wushin off the map and didn't account for the flank that came through from Fizz. Great cleanup in that team fight. We'll be able to pick up the mid and bottom turrets for their trouble. And Energy Pacemaker maybe need to start looking towards what they're going to do next game to really calm this King lineup down.
Yeah, and I think that Energy Pacemaker would just like, oh, let's get rid of Wushin. This guy's so huge on the Corki. Use all of our resources, take him down. And then what happens in response? That's a pentakill for Assassin on that Fizz. 11-0-5. Gonna easily have that Void Staff when he decides to pick that one up. Heading back to base now, and oh my goodness. Actually decides to go for Rabin's Death Cap instead. May as well just get more and more AP.
Exactly right. He didn't have any trouble getting through the MR on Amazing J, and no one else really has that much at this point in the game, so why not go for even more AP? Make him even scarier for Kayn to deal with. Kayn can't go anywhere near these team fights of fear that Assassin is just going to absolutely destroy him.
Yeah, and that was just such beautiful play coming through. I'm not even sure how Assassin managed to pick up that pentakill. It was just wonderful cleanup work coming through from this Fizz.
Yeah, and that's all it was. Amazing J, he tanked up a lot of the upfront damage and thought, yeah, we can win this team fight. So they send the Pantheon and the Scion in, but once they're in the front line, Fizz just got way too easily into the back line, and this will be the first Baron started up. Only 2 members. MLXG actually taking a lot of damage, but they'll get everyone else in now, and that'll be a very easy dragon. Amazing J's in the bottom lane. I don't even think they know this is going on.
Yep, the Grand Skyfall is going to come down on top of this Baron, though, but Drizzle, you just don't have any tanky stats here at all, and he just comes to donate a kill, offer some damage onto that Baron, and then they're going to get the heck out. Assassin now has found Raphael, and look at this damage coming through. Kane! Oh my gosh, that was one ability. Wushin going to pick up the kill under him, and 3 members dead. Energy Pacemaker's base is soon to be in shambles.
That was just the Lichbane W auto attack that did all that damage onto the AD carry. They're going to push into the base. This will be the first inhibitor of the game. With the Baron buff and still 20 seconds on 2 members, this might even be the win for King.
Yeah, Amazing J actually had his teleport up that entire time, but just knew that there was nothing he could do, because there's been nothing he could do all game on this Scion. Now going to try and get the ult off. MLXG going relatively low, but uses that empowered W with that Spirit Visage and gets so much of his health back. Assassin tearing through this turret now with this Lichbane. And the inhibitor now going to be shown. Members of Energy Pacemaker are respawning. And King just going to take their Baron and inhibitor and head back and spend their squillions of gold at this stage.
Yeah, and at this stage, Maokai's picked up a Thornmail, has just bought even
These
more.
Money numbers are just insane.
Yeah, 16,000 to 11,000 in mid and bottom lane for the AD carries. That is
gold.
absolutely huge on
mental.
the 2 biggest members, and the Infinity Edge now being picked up for Wushin.
Yeah, that's an expensive shopping list as well. That's an expensive shop. He went onto that one, spoke to his mum, and his mum said, no, you're not going to have those. They're way too expensive, dear. But he says, nah, I'm getting them anyway. I'm going to earn them myself. And he certainly has this game. 10, 1, and 7 now on this Corki. Only died once in that last team fight, but that was to get Assassin a pentakill.
So King looking to push into the bottom lane, where there still is the turret up. They have the Baron buff, so why not? At this point, Sky is that tanky that picked up a Watermail for himself as well. That will be a Randuin's quite soon.
Oh my
This Maokai
gosh.
is absolutely huge.
He's not going to take any damage. He's probably going to be doing more damage back with his Thornmail than he's going to be taking from Kane, as the Howling Gale going to come through as a bit of an afterthought here to try and deter King. But look, Sky can get zapped by that tower all he wants, but he just restores all that back with his passive.
Yeah, and we see the flank actually coming through from MLXG. The turret's fallen, and now they start up the fight.
Yeah, Descent's going to go wide, but Amazing J going to get Flay back in here. Thrill of the Hunt. MLXG just looking for someone to jump on. Raphael gets caught out. Monsoon going to get used, but there's the Chum the Waters. Assassin starting it off. Double kill instantly. The Zonyas to come out afterwards. Drizzle going to fall down. Wushin going to pick up that kill. Amazing J, he's going to follow, and King with a decimating first victory here in our LPL for Week 2, Day 2. And man, what a way to jump onto the Rift.
What an absolute clinic put on by King,
yeah.
understanding exactly what they needed to do with that team comp to win. And they played every team fight after that first Dragon flawlessly, taking Kane off the map, getting rid of Raphael, and then just walking around Sion, slowly whittling him down. Amazing J was very tanky, but in the end, didn't matter.
Yeah, very tanky, but he didn't do a whole lot else. But we are going to have a replay for you guys just to show you just how well our friends over at King did.
Yeah, so the important part of this as we get the replay rolling is look where Assassin is. He's in the mid lane. He's nowhere near the rest of his team. Amazing J gets hooked and just thinks, you know what, I can tank all of this. Assassin's walking back to mid lane at this point. Amazing J goes in, gets a good knock up, and the Pantheon ult is actually perfect. Wushin must have misclicked, because diving into the team as Corki is a brave maneuver. And at this point, Energy Pacemaker are like, we finally have a team fight. But Assassin from the flank comes in, completely ruins Kane's day. Then able to pick up Drizzle, I believe, afterwards. Actually, Raphael. And
that's all the damage gone now at this stage, you have to think.
After that, there's just 2 carries down. He can run through and just play complete cleanup duty. Assassin picks up the first pentakill, I think.
Yeah, first pentakill of the LPL.
And does it in pretty convincing fashion.
It's just, he made it look easy. He certainly did. And being sort of the janitor on Fizz, I mean, that's a role that he can definitely play. I mean, if he puts his resume into somewhere where he gets a cleaning job, he's going to get that job, let's be honest.
Yeah, and to just run a 1 damage comp into an assassin, and an assassin like Fizz is so dangerous, and King really made EP pay for that.
And he certainly did. So you could imagine